February 1959. The Ural Mountains, Soviet Union. 9 experienced hikers began an expedition They were young, fit, and experienced. Students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. This was Their destination was Mount Otorten, 234 meters high. The name means "don't go there" in the local Mansi language.
Igor Dyatlov led the group, 23 years old. With him were Zina Kolmogorova, Rustem Slobodin, Yuri Doroshenko,
On January 28th, they boarded a train from Sverdlovsk. Excitement filled the air. None of them knew this would be their last journey.
Inside the train, they sang songs with guitars, shared stories, laughed. The kind of joy you only feel when...
By February 1st, they had reached the edge of the mountain. The weather was cooperating. Everything seemed perfect.
But as they entered the dense forest, something changed. The path grew harder. The trees seemed to close in around them.
Then the weather turned. A blizzard swept across the mountains. Visibility dropped to almost nothing, but they pushed forward. On the slope of Kholat Shachov, Mountain of the Dead in the Mansi language, they set up camp. Exhausted but relieved, inside the tent, they warmed themselves around a small stove. Hot food shared body heat. The howling wind outside was forgotten. But that night, something terrified them. Something so horrifying that 9 experienced hikers opened their own tent from the inside and fled into... The hikers never returned. Their families waited. Days turned into weeks. Finally, on February 26th, what they found made no sense. The tent was half buried in snow, empty, and cut open from the inside. The cuts were precise, made with knives. Whoever left this tent was in a hurry. But why? What were they running from? Footprints led away from the tent. But here's the first strange detail. Many of them were barefoot, in freezing snow. The first 2 bodies were found near the edge of the forest. Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko. They were wearing only their underwear. No coats, no boots, no hats. Hypothermia killed them. But why didn't they go back to the tent? 3 more bodies were found deeper in the forest, heading back toward the tent. They had tried to return, but the cold was... Igor Dyatlov, Rustem Slobodin, and Zina Kolmogorova, all frozen. But here's where a large cedar tree nearby had broken branches 4 to 5 meters high. Someone had climbed it, in minus 30 degrees. Why? Under the tree, the remains of a small fire. They tried to warm themselves, but the wood was green and the fire barely lasted. Then they kept moving.
The last 4 bodies were found months later, buried under 3 meters of snow in a ravine. They had crawled there, trying to build a snow shelter.
But here's what the investigators couldn't explain. 4 of the bodies had severe internal injuries, crushed ribs, fractured skulls.
One victim's skull was completely crushed, a force equivalent to a car crash at high speed. But there were no cars on that mountain.
One of the female hikers, Lyudmila Dubinina, was missing her tongue, completely removed. No other facial injuries.
Several bodies had orange-brown skin, a sunburn-like appearance, in the middle of winter, on a frozen mountain. And finally, radiation. Traces of radioactive material were found on some victims' clothing. Not enough to kill, but enough. The official Soviet conclusion? Quote, "An unknown compelling force." That's it, no explanation. The case was closed. Theory 1, infrasound. Low-frequency sound waves that humans can't hear but can feel. Certain wind patterns over mountains This phenomenon is called the Kármán vortex stream. When wind hits a mountain at the right angle, it creates rhythmic pulses that resonate inside a tent. The result? Blind.
Theory 2, avalanche. A slab of snow slides down and hits the tent, but investigators found no evidence of an avalanche. The tent wasn't buried, plus, an avalanche would have crushed the tent completely, not just cut it open from the inside. The victims' injuries also don't match avalanche trauma. Theory 3, secret military weapons. The Cold War was at its peak. The Soviet military was testing rockets. Reports
supporting evidence? The radiation found on the clothes, the strange internal injuries, the Soviet cover-up. But no.
Theory 4, the paranormal. UFO sightings were reported in the Ural Mountains. Eyewitnesses described glowing spheres. Today, most experts believe a combination of factors caused the tragedy. Infrasound created mass panic. They fled the tent without proper clothing.
Then a slab of snow or ice fell into the ravine. The impact caused those massive internal injuries. It's not a perfect explanation, but it's the 67 years later, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains officially unsolved. The mountain kept its secret. And
Docuvyre, where truth becomes a story. Subscribe for more historical mysteries. And if you want to learn what really happened, watch